Tale Foundry. There is some amazing stuff going on in cinema. It's like magic. You can go to a theater, pay a small fee, and literally watch new worlds unfold before your very eyes. It's insane, it's unreal, and it's actually pretty easy to take for granted. I mean, so much goes into every film. Even the worst screening requires hundreds of hours of effort from dozens of people, and that's being conservative. We live in an era where technology and cinematography are developing so fast that we can justify rebooting entire franchises within the decade they came out. And yet, people are still complaining. I guess that's not surprising, people will always complain, but there's one complaint in particular that I hear so often, maybe it's got some merit. A lot of people are concerned that movies are shifting their focus from storytelling to spectacle, and in the process, their stories are becoming dumber, less intricate, less thought-provoking. The thing is, the quality of a story is, in a lot of ways, a matter of taste. What seems bland and simple to one person might be incredibly poignant and moving to the next. There's just no clear criteria for what makes a story good. That will always be up to the audience. So, a lot of these complaints are just coming from people who don't happen to like what's popular in cinema. And okay, that's fine, people have their preferences and they want to think that their opinions are right, or whatever. That's natural. But I do think there might be something to this argument. I think a lot of the people who are making this complaint are picking up on something else, something that's part of a much larger, much older discussion. See, today there are basically only two types of fiction. Genre fiction and literary fiction. This is probably obvious, but genre fiction tends to focus more on the genre. Sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, you get the idea. On the other hand, literary fiction is more focused on the writing itself. It can fit into a genre, but literary stories are generally more about providing some kind of commentary on real life. That, or being weird and artsy. Simply put, genre fiction is fun, literary fiction is smart. That's the way people tend to see it. So, when folks complain that storytelling in recent film has been getting less smart, they may actually mean that it's been getting less literary. As in, the stories are becoming less about asking meaningful questions and more about this stuff. And that might actually be true. The focus of film does seem to be shifting toward made-for-your-entertainment genre fiction. I mean, there's always going to be a wide variety in cinema because studios are ultimately full of artists, and what artist wants their work to be the same as everyone else's? So I'm not saying there are more big-budget genre films, although that could very well be the case. I'm just saying that they're getting a lot more attention than films with literary stories. Here, think of every big ad campaign you've seen for films recently, every big brand deal. What kind of movies have they been for? Quiet, thought-provoking art films? I mean, maybe if you consider this thought-provoking. There's a reason movies like Interstellar and Ex Machina don't appear on McDonald's cups, and it's not because they're bad movies. Interstellar actually has better ratings across the board than Avengers Age of Ultron, which was the 4th highest grossing movie of the year. But it's also more literary than Avengers. Yeah, Interstellar is built within a science fiction framework, but it isn't about those genre elements. It's about asking us questions and making us reflect on real life. And that actually hurts it. Because while literary fiction can be extremely meaningful and worthwhile, it's also harder to market. Deep philosophy and poignant storytelling just don't translate as well to the very visual, bite-sized mediums used for advertising. Genre fiction, on the other hand? Easy. It is so easy to market eye-catching genre elements and familiar genre icons. They practically sell themselves. And this, I believe, is the source of this whole issue. The fact that genre fiction is inherently easier to market, along with the fact that all the popular franchises seem to be genre fiction, means that it's just going to get more exposure than literary fiction. People are going to see it more, they're going to talk about it more. Ultimately, it's going to look like there's just more genre fiction, period. Which, to a lot of people, will feel like movies are, in fact, getting dumber. And that's nobody's fault. It's just kind of the difference between the two categories of fiction. So, does that mean literary fiction is someday going to disappear and all we'll have left is a bunch of big-budget, high-intensity franchise genre films? I don't think so. I think literary stories are loved by enough people that there will always be someone willing to work on them. You might have to look a little harder, but they'll always be out there. But there may be a fix to this issue, a way to marry literary fiction and genre fiction to get the best of both worlds. I'm not saying it would be easy, but movies like The Avengers could be written in such a way that they pose real questions to the audience while still being marketable with all their exciting, flashy genre elements. The Winter Soldier is actually a pretty strong example of how to approach this. The movie is by no means literary, but beneath all the action and effects, it still poses some serious questions. Questions about our politics, our government, our security. Things worth thinking about. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of pointless to worry about whether all this genre fiction is making storytelling in films more stupider. Genre fiction is great on its own, literary fiction is great on its own. Why should we cut back on either? Instead of bashing successful genres for their shortcomings, we should spend more time talking about how we can combine the best of both. And this isn't just about movies either. This stretches across every medium we use for storytelling. We don't make better fiction by tearing down things that people like and trashing their ideas. We do it by finding what works, what we love about our stories, and putting those things to good use. Anyway, I know this one has been sort of different from the other videos, so thanks for watching it all the way through. If you have any thoughts or opinions on this, we'd love to talk about it. Just leave a comment below or visit our Facebook page. As always, you can subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, or click submit if you have a story you want us to share.